Okay, Tuesday night here in the Source Media Studios, and it looks like we're cooking up some pork roll. Good thing Rob Nussbaum just came in. Good to see all you guys piling in. Mike Draco across the line first. No, wait a minute. Rob Nussbaum was across the line first. Walter Benarski here with us from New Jersey. Bruno Coppola, good evening from Laconia, New Hampshire at the 98th Rally. Underway, and I got good reports. I got to tell you, it's encouraging. Russ Journey in from Kearney, Nebraska. Nancy Keener, Maryland in the house. So good to see all you guys. Hey, so Coast to Coast going live in 3.5 minutes. In the meantime, I want to tell you, you can help us get this program out across the two-wheeled universe by hitting the like and share button. Do your part. Make sure your friends and neighbors know when we go live with this program and others like it. Carrie Patchett, hello Chris and Mike, and Tara from Barbenas, Illinois. Almost sprained my tongue with that one. Marty Zavakos, Dayton, Ohio. Leanne Sims checking in from Arizona. Good to see all you guys. Tuesday, man, kicking the week off strong with Coast to Coast. Mike Draco's passing the barbecue chips already. It's going to be a good show. Hey, man, stick around 2.5 minutes and we're going live with this one. Jamon Rooney, there's a new name to the program. Good to see you, man. Hope you dig the show. Oh, you guys, Jason Sims, dang, the lag is killing me. Want to be first just once. Oh, you'll get there, buddy. I don't know what Rob must have the fastest alerts on the planet, because he was in before I got my first comment up. Cam Edwards, Chris, you're pretty. And he spelled it with the H, so he's talking about me. You dirty, dirty boy. Good to see you here, Cam. Thanks for checking in. We're just 1.5 minutes out, man. It's going to be a fantastic show tonight. Chris and Mike will have a good one. Jamon, you've been here before. I hadn't recognized. Well, welcome back then. Awesome. Chris and Mike will have a killer show lined up. You guys better get ready. Grab something cold to drink. Kick back and relax and get ready in 1.5 minutes to go coast to coast. 50 seconds. Just enough time to give out my last few shout outs. David Crum from New Jersey. Doug Riquette, Walla Walla, Washington. Always enjoy the show. Thanks for being here. Steve Broyles, what's up from Detroit? Poppy in the house. And Nancy Weems is going to get munchies. I guess that means it's time for us to get this thing out of the stable and up onto the racetrack and go live with this week's installment of Coast to Coast. Here we go.
Hey everybody, welcome to Coast, your weekly Tuesday night show about women in motorcycling. It is coast to coast because I'm literally right at the coast here in Northern California, enjoying my time in the redwoods. So I'm going home next week to Hawaii. I know I got a rough life, but I'm not complaining. I know I'm lucky. But anyway, thank you for joining us. Let's bring in Michael Lichter from Boulder, Colorado, our co-host with the most. There you are. How
Hey
you
there.
doing?
Good. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keeping busy with all this stuff. It seems like it's just deadlines all the time now for some reason.
Well, you're busy. You're doing all kinds of events coming up. Huh? You have a little calendar filling in?
I got stuff coming up. Yep. Just a
Yeah.
little bit, but just been shooting, and every time you shoot, there's a lot to do.
Well, yeah, I can imagine. Uh-oh, my
Uh-oh.
computer just fell on me. Hey, what's going on here? Sorry about that.
Very
Anyway,
good.
it's technology. It's like they have this stuff has a mind of its own.
It
Anyway,
sure does. We know that for sure.
yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm just like, my daughter's been here visiting, so I've been doing some fishing and hanging out with her and, not doing too much of my motorcycle stuff, but I promised my bike we're going to pull you out tomorrow and get you running again. Get my leg, kicking leg going again. It's a little different than pushing a button, right?
I had a little problem that's nothing but a little dielectric grease fixed, but so the bike's working again, still sitting outside there. And I love your little post about Lindsay's fish. You said, oh, she caught a big one, and you have to scroll to the next picture and you can see a fish about that big. And she had the biggest smile on her face.
She just likes to find out, like, what kind of fish is this, so she does all the research on it and everything, so now she's out surf fishing right now with my husband. They went out to the beach with a surf bait caster because she said there's some surf some perch you can catch in the surf. So I was like, okay, if you can get Pat away from working in the yard, digging fence post holes and cleaning out the garage, then that's awesome, So that's kind of what we've been doing, just spending time with our daughter, who we haven't seen in like 8 months because she lives in Portland.
Well, I'll tell you, California suits you. I think you should stay a little longer.
Yeah. Well, you never know. I might be back. But anyway, so did you go for a ride the other day with your son? How was that?
Yeah, we rode down to Denver. We had a little ride, and then just had some visitors from Daytona Beach, some people I know from Bike Week. They came in. We went to a really awesome little inn up in the mountains, 150-year-old log inn that was very cool and had some great music outside, and it's just a little old gold mining town, Gold Hill. I think about 100 people live there, and such a cool place. It feels really good to be in the mountains.
Yeah, I'll bet. Yeah. I wish they'd bring that Fairplay, that ladies ride back. I don't know who put
it's
that
another
on.
Cool place.
It was in Fairplay. Yeah, I remember that years ago.
Who. If somebody out there knows, you got to chime in and let us know, because that was a good event. It was a lot of fun. It's such a great place up there.
Yep. I think that was in the 80s. I mean, that's how long ago that was going on. Anyway, we're talking about events. Thank you to Women Riders Now for letting me steal your events page once again. And we do have the Mid-Atlantic Women's Motorcycle Rally in York, Pennsylvania coming up this week. And I think my friend Deb is on her way there right now, actually. It's in York, Pennsylvania, in June 17th through 19th. That seems like a cool event. Seems like it's going on. It said 28th year, but man, I don't remember that from all those years ago, but maybe it was going on and I didn't know about it. So then we have Lace Grace and Gears Rally in Rogers, Arkansas.
When's that?
June 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th. And that seems like a fun event. It's Pig Trail Harley Davidson and riding in the epic riding to the Ozarks. Join over 2,000 women in the Parade of Sisters. Oh, that's pretty cool. And then the Harley Rendezvous, which I don't know how many years that's been going on. It's an Indian Lookout Country Club in Pattersonville, New York.
I think the last time I was there was 1985. But when is it? That's in June also, right?
Yeah, the same weekend. June. This is like not a women's event. The other ones were ladies' events, but this is everybody event. So if you're out that way and you want to go to the Rendezvous, check it out. Then the last women's event, because I don't want to get too far into July because we'll forget anyway. We'll have to, is the Over and Out Moto X, June 25th, 26th, 27th in Stockton, New Jersey, held on a beautiful private farm, professionally built motocross track, newer riders, epic treat for experienced riders. It's really cool.
Boy, that looks really cool.
I know. My daughter and I want to go do one of those. If I could get away from fishing, we could go out and.
There you go. And there's some cool overall events too. Something came up in pre-show
Mhm.
about the July 4th Iowa Hog Drags. They're
Oh, right.
back, and this weekend, one of the
Mhm.
promoters of the Iowa Hog Drags is going to be on
Mhm.
Shop Talk. So that's
Oh,
Jay
cool.
Rogers, and it's Iowa Hog Drags Revisited. So I don't know if
Mhm.
that stopped for a while. I used to go. I went in the mid '80s. I went
Mhm.
a number of times. I went back in 1999. I think was the
All
last time I was
right.
there. It was a great event, really good event in
Oh,
Iowa.
yeah. I remember
Very
those.
fun.
Those were a long time. And then, I didn't want to talk too far, but I know we have the suffragist centennial motorcycle ride, July 31st to August 19th. The cross country ride for women from Portland,
Sure.
Oregon. I might jump in on that. I'm thinking about maybe after Sturgis,
I think that's a
meet him in
great idea.
Milwaukee and jump on a Harley Davidson maybe
There you
and ride
go.
all the way to the East Coast. I know there's a women's motorcycle conference. I'm going to be a presenter about the history of women in motorcycling, do a little talk, and then sign some books, and then talk about cannonball stuff like that.
Oh,
And
I got
then,
an
of
idea.
course,
Well,
what?
why don't you get Lindsay to fly in and ride on the back of you?
Yeah,
I
right.
think the two up in a buddy seat would be awesome.
You tie your fishing pole in the back, right? And then, of course, we got Wild Gypsy Tour, in Sturgis. I guess it's called Biker Bells, the 13th annual Biker Bells celebration in Sturgis, August 10th, which is going to be really fun. Oh, July 5th, the motorcycle chase, of course. July 5th, the motorcycle chase. Rob just said that. And thank you, Rob. I know I'm not doing it this year, but I know you guys, I think Chris Callan guys are going to do some stuff from the road, right? Michael, you're going to be there.
I
So,
guess so. I don't know what's going on. It's one step at a time. I got too much right now, so
yeah.
I got to get that all figured out. But
Try
maybe
and
we'll
get
do a
you in
show from the
that.
road with Chris.
Yeah. So we have another of these incredible women in motorcycling history, little segments that we put together every week for you guys. And I think we have this one queued up for this week. Let's check it out. See if we got it. Hi, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to this week's edition of Incredible Women of Motorcycling History. Today, I'd like to tell you about my friend Cookie Ayers Crum. Cookie was from Sarasota, Florida. When she was in high school, she heard a motorcycle roar by when she was trying to study, looking out the window, and immediately fell in love forever. Her friend Kenny Kennedy actually taught her how to ride when she was 16. When she was 19 years old, she was reading the Sarasota ads looking for a job, and she saw an ad in the paper under the travel and adventure section looking for a young girl who loved adventure and wanted to learn how to ride the Wall of Death and travel with the Ringling Brothers Circus. Well, Cookie answered that ad, and it changed her life. She traveled with the circus for many years, having so many adventures along the way, and eventually settled down in Portland, Oregon. She became a motor maid. She was a Harley dealer. She loved riding. I think she rode for over 60 years of her life. In 1985, she incredibly met a man named Bob Crum, and thus her name became Cookie Crum for real. Cookie was an amazing friend of mine. She was inducted into the Sturgis Hall of Fame in 2009. She sadly passed away on June 5th of 2015 and will be missed forever. But if you want to know more about Cookie, you can look on the web or look in my book, The American Motorcycle Girls, 1900 to 1950. Thanks. Oh, man.
Wow.
Cookie, you met Cookie, didn't you? Because she used to hang out with me. She was in my
I
posse.
don't
I
know if I
remember her in
did.
Sturgis.
But why is she about the most famous of these women? Why has her name come up so much?
I think because her name is just kind of different.
Good name and a
You know,
compelling story.
Yeah, and she's just a cool person. I mean, she went to Sturgis a couple of times with me and hung out with me and Gloria, did some book signings because she's in my book, and I
I
got to
probably
be
did meet
pretty
her.
good friends with Cookie, and just such a great person, And she was really close with Samantha Morgan and Charlie
Oh, because
Ransom, all those guys.
Sam lived down in Florida too, right?
Yeah, but Cookie ended up in Portland. She lived there for
Oh,
many years around Medford, but
wow.
just a cool person. I used to go visit her once in a while, but
God, and those
I
stories are,
know.
that's it.
I
I mean, they're in your
know.
book. Are there
Mhm.
recordings of her anywhere talking about her stuff, or do you have
I
recordings?
actually did some filming of her because my
God,
someday dream thing is to do a documentary, and I do have some of these women
you know,
on film. So
I
hopefully,
wish you'd put up on your site little
Yeah.
bios on some of the women, and then little
Mhm.
short audio clips of each, so you could hear their voice. I think it would make it so personal
Yeah,
to
could
hear
be.
their voices, right?
Yeah, it's a cool idea. Yeah, she was Samantha's hero, and same thing. She just loved Samantha, and she loved Charlie, and everything about the wall. But I love those killer boots she had on in that one picture, man. I used to
Yeah.
ask her, "Where'd you get those boots? Those black leather boots with the skull and crossbones on the front." I would kill to have. I guess I could just make my own, paint them or something.
So what
Anyway,
year was it? What year was it when she went into the circus?
I think it was like 1949 or
I
something
mean,
like
she
that.
must have been one wild woman to have done that.
She
I
was. I
mean,
remember, hearing
that's
stories about her.
1949 and joining the circus to ride the wall of death.
I mean, she
And
literally ran away with the circus.
wow, that's really
Such,
amazing.
such a cool lady. Yeah, I mean, you know what? In the spirit lives on, because our guest tonight, Karan Andrea is just such a cool. She just loves the vintage bikes, and she loves the adventure, and she's just got such a spirit. When I kind of met her actually on Facebook. It's weird, but the post with the antique club, and she's got a couple shovel heads, and let's bring Karen and start
Oh,
talking to her
great.
about her life. I want to hear more about her. Hi, Karen. I want to give you this great big introduction. I just kind of jumped in because you're doing so many cool things. I just didn't know what to say first. So tell us, like, how you started hanging out with motorcycles. Where
Well,
did
I
this come
started riding
from?
in 2011. A friend of mine was going through a really rough time, and the only way he would really leave his house was to get on his bike and ride. I didn't ride at the time, and so I said, "Well, come get me. I'll pay for the gas. Let's go for a ride." And so we did that quite a lot, and just kind of trying to help him, get through. And he goes, one day he goes, if you like riding so much, he goes, why don't you go get your license and get your own bike, so you don't have to try to date some asshole with a bike. And I was like, I can do that. I didn't know any women who rode. Didn't really know that many people who rode. It kind of wasn't in my world at all, but I loved riding. I loved the feeling of being on a motorcycle. And so, but I had no idea how to even learn how to ride. And he was like, yeah, you go take the class, you do this, you do that, and whatever, and voila, you can ride. I'm like, oh, okay. It's a little more involved than that. The class teaches you how to operate a motorcycle. It doesn't really teach you how to ride a motorcycle. Only seat time can do that. Right.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Amen to that one. Yeah, for sure.
So,
Like you said, you took the motorcycle safety class, but then I think you even went further with that because you did some other things, but we'll talk about that later. So this was like 2011 that you started riding?
Yeah. Fall of 2011. I did the class, got my endorsement, and got my first bike, which was the exact wrong bike for me. So I struggled with that bike for 3 years, not knowing whether it was me or the bike, and finally I got rid of that bike and I got my first Harley. I got a 2001 Dyna Super Glide. So that was my first Harley.
Nice.
And, yeah. And
Wow.
I love the torque in the bottom end, this sort of like muscle car feel of the Harley. The bike I had, you couldn't have a conversation with it. It was too smooth,
I love it. Too smooth. So you had, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't ride that new stuff. You want those old bikes.
Right. Well, the old one, it was still a modern bike, but it's still, the Harleys, you have more of a conversation. It lets you know what it wants. And, when you ask it for something, it'll give it to you if you're in the, using the right vocabulary. So there's that. But,
That's
Well,
awesome.
I'm guessing there's not that many women that started riding in the last 10 years that are as into older vintage bikes as you are. So what gives? How did that happen?
Actually, it was the guy I was seeing at the time. I got my license, and then not long after that, I met this guy, and he rode. And he, about the time we first started dating, he got a 49 Pan, and he had old bikes before that too. But he had that, and then he got a 64 Pan. I've always been into old cars, old houses, antiques. sort of the retro, anything from the past, so I've always, I think I probably would have eventually found the old bikes, but probably not in the way that I'm into them now. So he had the old stuff. He found my 74 shovel, the atomic shovel, on the side of the road for sale. And he knew I liked the stance of his 49. And he said, it's got a similar stance, but it's a shovel, it's got electric start. That'd be a great bike for you. I'll fix it up and, we can ride the old bikes together. And
cool.
I thought, well,
I think we have some pictures. We can look at some photos of some of these bikes you're talking about, because I know you gave us some of these photos. Why don't we take a look at this first picture? I think might be one of your first bikes. Let me see if we can cue
I
it
think
up
that's
here.
a newer bike. Or the bike at
that's
the time.
Dinah.
That's a
Yeah, that's
Dinah.
my,
That's a Dinah. Yeah. Cool.
yeah. That I did my first solo trip. That was my first solo trip on that bike in 2017. That's the house I on the way to, through this trip. It was kind of a long, involved thing, but that's the house I grew up in Lexington, Kentucky. So I rode past that.
Oh,
stuff. So.
that's a nice area. My brother lives there, by the way. Small plug. Hi, brother. Anyway, that's a great town, actually. Really cool places to ride along there too. A lot of kind of horse country, right?
Beautiful. Yeah, it really is pretty.
That's nice. Who's that on the back of your bike?
That's my dog, Maisie. She rides on my Road King. I built a box for her, and when I do day rides and stuff, I'll pop her on the back, and she rides with me and makes everybody smile. I love that about her. When I've got her on the bike, everybody, they'll do, of course they do the double take, like, okay, that's a dog on a bike. And then they just smile and laugh and they take pictures and give me thumbs up. And it just makes people happy.
Does she like to go? Does she get excited when you pull your bike
She
out?
does.
Does she like want to go?
She doesn't get excited, but
Right.
she goes over, sits down and waits for her harness to go on and waits for her goggles to go on and waits for me to lift her up in there and buckle her in. So yeah, she's just, and then she just sniffs the air the whole time we're riding. She's got her nose in the air, or she's turning around backwards looking at the people behind us like, yep, I'm on a bike.
Yeah, it's kind of like me. I kind of do the same thing. Sniffing the air, looking around, checking out people, waving to people with my paws. That's awesome, though. I love you take your dog with you. My dogs are too crazy. They would never do it. So what made you get into the old bike? You just love the old bikes. It sounds like
I did,
kind of
and then
like fever, huh?
He found that 74 for me, and that ended up not really panning out the way he described it. There it is. That's atomic shovel. But he was going to put it up and do all this, and every time he'd come over and work on it, it was the bike has an angry soul, and so it wouldn't do what he wanted to do, so he'd yell at me.
Your bike has an angry soul. I love that. I have to remember that one. My bike has an angry soul. Well, they do have personalities, I'll tell you, and they're all a little different.
That bike is an angry bike. It really is. But so I'm like, well, I don't like you very much anymore, but I really want to keep the bike. So I got rid of him and kept the bike. And it needed to be rewired. I took it out for a ride or something one day, and I was terrified to ride the damn thing because it was just so, I just didn't trust it, because I didn't know the bike. And but I came home and parked it, and when I walked away from it, my rear right turn signal was like hanging by the wire.
Okay, telling you I have a broken thing, fix me.
Yeah,
sending you a message.
No.
Well, I love how you got into the mechanical stuff. I mean, it sounds like you just kind of jumped in. I was a little more tentative, I'm still in the wiring thing is a little, sometimes I'll do it a little bit, sometimes
it was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. I mean, now I'm kind of like, point to point wiring, the lighting and accessory circuits and stuff, those are easy. The heavy stuff, I'm still not, battery starter, ignition, all that. That's a little intimidating, but like the lights and accessories, it's pretty easy. So
was it electric? Did you change it over to kick? Is it electric start?
It had the kicker. It had kicker and electric start on it. Right, and so I kept electric start. I can't kick that thing. There's no way. I'm not going to even try, especially with a fresh motor now. I'm not even going to try.
Yeah, right. I don't blame you. But hey, this thing with the toolbox, I have to tell everybody, I am so excited. I want to do this. I mean, to do this, I'm the person that I has the tool thing and I pull it out and I got to look for like 5 minutes to find the tool that I need. This is so awesome that you
Thank
have
you.
slots. I mean, I hope you guys are paying attention to this because this is incredible.
I think there's a
I mean-
product that could be sold in there.
Karen, Kate, don't let me steal your idea. She patented it, you guys. Okay, so don't steal it.
That is pretty
But-
cool.
Is that awesome or what? What made you, I guess, obviously you were tired of digging around for your tools, right?
Yeah, I mean, I rode that bike in 2019. I did 2 trips on that bike. I went to a short one to Pennsylvania for a road run, which is that was about 800 miles round trip for me. And then the other one, I went to Tennessee, which was about 2,000 miles round trip. And both times I took tools. I needed tools. I was always having to fix shit, whatever. And so I would have to unpack those stupid saddlebags because those bubble bags are a real pain in the butt to pack because they're a weird shape and they're fragile. So you have to be careful with them. So I had to unpack the damn saddlebag to get to my tools that were at the bottom. And then I'd have to like rummage through my tools to try and find stuff. And I was like, there has got to be a better way.
That's awesome.
And so I wanted to keep the weight close to the wheels, close to the frame, supported. And I wanted to be able to kind of like get into them without having to unpack the bags. So that's how that kind of came about, was the weight distribution. And
That's so smart. Yeah.
Well, I think it'd be interesting on that one trip. You said it was about 800 miles round trip, and you call that your short trip. So on that trip, if you could recall, maybe you could describe how many times and some of the times that you stopped for mechanicals and what they involved. Because I think a lot of people that, they're riding just 10 years, they're riding new bikes, they don't have these experiences. It is part of riding an older bike. So can you give us a little insight into that?
That one, I didn't have any mechanical issues because it was only a one day. It was like a 6-hour day. So I didn't have any mechanical issues on the road. But actually, before I left, I had to get in the nacelle one more time because I had my I put a 12-volt port in the nacelle and ran a wire out to charge my phone so I could run GPS, and that had vibrated loose. So I had to get in there and tighten it up because otherwise I would have had no cell by the time, 3 hours down the road, my cell would have been out. So when I got to Pennsylvania, I had to get into the nacelle again and then really fix it good. And I just silicone and electrical tape and just
There you go.
scooped it all together and said, "The hell with it. It'll work." And it's still that way. I haven't gone in and actually done it correctly yet.
Well, so that was on that trip. And how about maybe the bigger trip?
The Tennessee trip.
Do you just not get many mechanicals? I'm amazed. My shovel head has to stop all the time.
I didn't have any like heavy mechanical issues. It was all like shit falling off the bike because the flywheels weren't balanced. So, I would lose bolts and nuts. My the horn bracket fell off. I remember I was just north of Lexington on a road. There was no shoulder on. There was 2 lanes wide or 2 lanes in either direction in the median, and there was like no shoulder. And I'm doing like 55. And I feel something nudge my foot. And I'm like, okay, on a motorcycle doing 55, there shouldn't be anything nudging my foot. And I look down and my horn is sitting on top of my boot.
Oh yeah. It's a shovel head. Everything vibrates. Again, you have to tighten things down, preventive maintenance.
Exactly.
Chris Kellens, the key to the shovel head is to tighten everything down and check nuts and bolts and for loose stuff. That's just the way it is.
I've just about got that bike dialed in now as far as that goes, between my rabid overuse of Loctite and what to do. It's pretty good. The only things I lost on the trip to Utah were my 2 back fender bolts, and thank God I didn't lose them at the same time.
Yeah, wow. I've seen fenders come off, believe me. So, what's the Atomic? Tell us about the seat. That is such a cool, you kind of named it the Atomic.
Well, let's go to the next picture there, number 7 at the same time.
Picture of the seat.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
If you zoom in there on the back of the seat.
Atomic. That is such a killer seat.
Beautiful.
You had somebody make that for you, right?
Yeah, Ernie Barkman. He's in New York. He's in the I think more downstate from me. He's made those seat rails, custom seat rails for people for the Coney Island bikes, they call them, the ones that are really super decked out. Mine's pretty tame compared to those bikes, but he makes those seat rails. Well, he just retired from doing it within the last, I don't know, maybe month or 6 weeks. So I got probably one of the last ones that he made, which was super cool.
Cool.
The bike was that exhaust tip. You can just see it in that photo. It looks kind of like a rocket. It's got that single exhaust tip on the right because I have a 2-in-1. I saw that exhaust tip and I'm like, that's so cool. There may be
the atomic bike. I love that. That is so cool. You know what? I want to take a short commercial break, and then we come back. We'll talk about your latest adventures. Because I know you've been hitting the road, girl. So let's take a short commercial break, and we'll come right back, and we'll talk more about your trip. Okay?
Sure.
Right back. All right.
Everything we do at the track shapes what we build for the street and the dirt.
You can see how bad these guys want it. A race to the line.
For us, racing is not for the trophies or the glory. We compete because it makes everything we do faster, more durable, and tested to a higher standard. For S&S, racing is the ultimate in proven performance, and we've been proving it since 1958.
My name is Ray Yanis. I'm from Ormond Beach, Florida. Got into motorcycling, at a very early age, like every young guy does with mini bikes, go-karts, that kind of stuff. I got a frame for a mini bike. I strapped that thing. It had no brakes. All my shoes had holes. And I grew up with Warren and Billy Lane. When I moved from New Jersey, I moved to Miami. Billy's a little bit younger than Warren and I. They've been cool since day one, man. I can't lie. My parents, they came from Cuba. My dad moved to New York City in 1959, right when Castro took over. I joined the Navy 1986, and my chief had a Harley Davidson there, and he had an old FLH, and he would ride this thing in his uniform every day. Had a 67 Sportster with a Magneto. Don't recommend it. My first Harley was 1989. I've never been without a Harley since. I retired Miami, I was in law enforcement there for 23 years. Now this is what I enjoy. It's kind of like a Ripley's Believe It or Not, like everything's shrunk down. Small lathe, small drill press. When it's cold as hell out here, and it's, you get condensation and stuff. I don't have much wall space, but I have a little bit of everything that's important to me. After a long day, come in here and this is my happy place. I'm grateful. I thank God every day. You don't have to be the best fabricator. You don't have to be the best designer. You don't have to be the best mechanic. You don't have to be the best welder. You don't have to be the best anything. Just make sure that what you do, that you're going to be proud of it when you're done, that you don't take shortcuts, and that it's done the right way. I'm Ray Yanis, from Ormond Beach, Florida, and I'm a Dennis Kirk garage builder.
Super cool. I think, he's checking out, working on his shovel. Do you see that?
That's
Maybe
awesome.
I think Karen's should be a Dennis Kirk garage builder, don't you
She
think?
could be.
Damn
And
right
it
she
reminds
could.
me, with Dennis Kirk, I have my new post up on Sturgis in the 90s. If you go to their blog,
Right.
and I'll tell you, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears going to these posts. I'm so slow at writing, but anyway.
You got it. You got it
Anyway,
down.
so that's up as of today. It went up this
Oh, nice.
afternoon. Yeah, that's a new one today. So now I have the 70s, 80s, and 90s up. And speaking of shovel heads,
Yeah.
I think Rob Nussbaum likes to be a little testy with us. So he said, and I guess we could ask this of Karen. So is shovelhead one word or two? Just wondering. I think he knows the answer to that, but we'll ask Karen that as well, right?
Yeah. What do you think, Karen? One word or two?
Okay, there you go.
Shovel
I think it'd be very strange as two words, right? And we had a few other comments. Let's see here. Should mention Bruno Capolo chimed in from Laconia saying that the 98th rally has been underway. So that sounds like it's a lot of fun. Wish I was there. I love that part of the country. It's so gorgeous. And then, we get a number of comments. Like Jessica Vitale said, Karan Andrea is amazing. And then, Marjorie chimed in, hey, everybody can't wait to hear Karen's stories. But I'm guessing that a lot of people know your story. So what is the deal? How does your story get out there?
I started when I started working on the 74 before it was the atomic shovel. It's the atomic shovel because that, like I said, that exhaust tip kind of started everything. And I started putting all these sort of atomic age, mid-century modern doodads on it. So that's what it became. So that's how I started calling it that. But I started posting, on Facebook, I'm doing this. And those posts got more likes, more comments, more everything than pretty much anything else I posted, even my dog. So, and I noticed that sometimes there would be women who would message me privately or comment or whatever and go, this is really inspiring to me, whatever. And I'm like, really? Cool. So I started posting. And so basically all I post about now is my bikes and my dog. Very rarely do I post anything personal. So I would post about my progress on the bike, what I was doing. I take photos. When I did the trips, I posted about that every day. And so that's this Utah trip. People got 16 days of Karen's travel log.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that. So you started out, I guess you were going, what was the destination for this
Kanab,
trip?
Utah. It was the Phoenix Roadrunner chapter of the AMCA did a national road run where you get all these vintage bikes come together in a particular spot. I think there was over 200 bikes there, and it's 3 days of riding. They have rides mapped out for each day, and you ride together or whatever. So most people will trailer. A lot of times they'll bring a couple of bikes, but most people will trailer out. I've got all my money in my bikes, so I don't trailer.
And you live far from there. Let's say, you're living like what, up by Syracuse? So you're not like in the next state.
Right outside of Buffalo. Yeah. Western New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
Did you ride from the furthest away for that road run?
Yes, I did. I got the most miles. Yeah. There weren't a lot of people rode to that one. There was the other ones I'd been to, more people rode to, but yeah, I did. But I figure it's got two wheels, they roll. I'll ride it.
So you're real involved with the AMCA, it sounds like, or at least you love the road runs. Is it? It sounds. Are you hanging out with a bunch of old guys, or do you have some younger women in there? What's the story there?
We need more women in the antique club world. Tell them, Karen.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. It seems like it's a bit one-sided there. Is it, or am I mistaken?
I mean, it's obviously it's still heavy on the male side, but there are women who are joining. Tara Lynch, she was one of the other few who rode there, and she and I both got these little trophies she did, I think, 1,600 miles, and I was a little over 2,200 miles out there. And she rides a 60 pan, I mean, she's a a lot more badass than I am.
Yeah, but was she by herself or was she with someone else?
She rode with a buddy. They rode out together, but her pan was her motor was pretty much on its last leg, so she was praying getting it home.
Wow.
Yeah. And you did have some, we showed some pictures there. We should probably go back and tell what's going on there. I know you had some trouble with your clutch. That's where you had your primary cover off there. And that one, I don't know, what day was that? Was that like
That was
the first few
day
days?
one.
No, was it? Oh gosh.
Day one.
Well,
Yeah, I my primary started like just pissing fluid everywhere, and I mean, new chain, new clutch basket, everything was new in there. Shifted like butter. Thing ran great, and
it's
then
a shovel head. It's a shovel head. Okay, it's gonna piss.
God, no, I mean it was like really bad. It was coming out of the solenoid. It was everywhere, and I started hearing this noise, and I'm thinking it's chain noise. And I'm like, and it started shifting weird, and I'm just like, oh my God. So I actually posted on the AFPA Facebook page, and I said, is there anybody in Dayton who can help me out with my 74 shovel? I'm having this problem. And literally within minutes, Jason Wazinski, who is a cannonballer and a chase guy, he lives in Huber Heights, which is actually where my hotel was. He lives less than 4 miles from the hotel I was staying at.
Wow.
He was like, I got stuff, I got tools, I can get a guy over here. Here's my address.
That's amazing.
This is the world we live in, though. Okay, I mean,
That's
being
the
out there
upside
by
of social
yourself.
media right there.
Yes, thank God for social media. What do you get called?
It's
AAA? You know, you're going to put you on the hook, right?
I'm gonna have to try that sometime. I've never tried looking for an immediate response.
That's
Yeah,
awesome,
it was.
Karen.
It
I
was
mean,
amazing.
and everybody was. I have to say, everybody was following you and rooting for you, and there's so many people posting. I'd be looking a couple times a day. You know, what's going on with Karen? Where's she now? You know, I was like a little worried, but I knew you land on your feet. You got your head together. You know what you're doing out there. You know, not everybody can do that alone. You know, have that kind of confidence. It's such a challenge.
But
Yeah,
maybe you feel like you got all these people with you, with your followers.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, kind of, yeah. I mean, for sure. And because I actually ended up having help in Joplin and did the same thing. I had problems with the clutch again in Joplin. The clutch plate stuck together, and I couldn't start the bike, or I could start it, but it wouldn't go in gear. So same thing happened. Bill Danicky helped me. He was within a half hour and came over, unstuck the clutch plates, and got me rolling. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that, and I didn't have enough time on the bike, or as much time on the bike before I left as I would have liked to. I got the bike back with a new motor in it, new clutch, new ignition, 10 days before I left.
Wow.
So I had about 600 shakedown miles on it, and I would have liked to have had a minimum of 1,000 or better on it, just because I'm kind of a planner. So, I mean, it looks like I do stuff. It looks like I'm just like gonzo going for it, but really, I've
We had a lot
got
of miles. I was just saying 600 miles is not, that's a lot of shakedown miles. I think for me it is. So,
well,
you know.
to me, going on a 5,000 mile trip, I would have been more comfortable if I had more time on the bike, but you do what you can do to prep the bike, prep yourself, and then once you get on the bike and you roll out of the driveway, it becomes a trust fall.
Right. Hey, Chris Tribby just chimed in. He said, Karen, hi, Chris. What was the number one thing you learned on this trip? Great question, Chris.
Don't overfill your primary.
Oh, wow.
Oh, is that what it was? You got a little heat going in there and everything expanded a little?
Well, it was causing a problem. It was a problem to begin with, so I was having a problem, and then because I thought that I pissed all this fluid out, I thought, okay, well, I'll put more in, and because it's losing it, I'm just going to put some in, and I'm not going to worry about it, whatever. And so
makes sense.
That caused, and then it had dry clutch plates in it instead of wet clutch plates in it. So because it was dry clutch, that caused more problems.
Yeah.
That's why they stuck together a couple of days later. Plus, I'm sure all the rain didn't help. Like
I was going to say, you rode through how many days of rain did you have on that trip? There were days when you were just drenched.
I think I had minimum 8 days of rain out of 16, and it felt like more. It felt like 15 out of 16. And I had not just like, oh, looky, it's raining. I had oh my freaking God, I am riding into a power washer. You know, it was
Wow.
some of the worst rain. I've ridden in rain. I mean, I've ridden in a lot of rain. You know, this is absolutely hands down was some of the worst rain I've ever dealt with. My rain actually failed. That's
Oh,
how
Oh
bad it
gosh.
was and
Wow.
everything. Yeah.
Let's look at some of your pictures. I know you have some other bikes I want to talk about. I know that you have a little stable there. Go ahead, Mike. You want to ask
I
something?
was just curious, did you stay
Uh-huh.
with friends or people that you knew through your social media along the way, going and coming back? Did you sleep
I
at
did not.
people's
I did
homes or?
meet up actually in person with Missy Shoemaker on the way back in Indiana. But no, I stayed in hotels and on the way out and back both. So yeah. I just it was a loner. It was a lone wolf run. It really
Yeah,
was.
that's when you want your own room. You want to get in there and take all your wet clothes off. You
Yeah,
don't want
and
to hang out with people. You just want to get dry.
yeah.
Right, for sure. And I
Wow.
know you have other bikes. I know you have this red bike. Let's talk a little bit about your
Yeah.
Oh,
Back
that's
in the
my
garage here in the photos.
your newer older bikes.
yeah. Yeah, that's my newest acquisition and my oldest bike. So
Yeah.
that one I haven't conquered yet. But that's my 40U. I bought it because I wanted to do the chase, which I may still do eventually, but I don't I'm obviously not doing the one that's coming up, and I probably won't do the one next year either. But yeah, I would like to eventually. I need to be very comfortable on that bike before I can take that thing into some of the technical situations that the chase calls for, you know, the mountains and, you know, stuff like that. I just want to
Sure.
on it.
So hey, so Vicky Sanfilippo chimed in. Hi, Vicky. How long will it take you to get to Milwaukee for the first? She said the showerhead reunion. I have to say, we're just talking about rain. The showerhead. That's what it feels like. Yeah, I know you're going to the shovelhead reunion, and you're going to head to Milwaukee. What? That's coming up in a week or so.
Yeah, that's coming up. I think I leave next Wednesday. Marjorie Kleiman actually reached out to me and said, "Hey, are you going to this?" And I'd been thinking about it, but you know, I wasn't real sure. And I'm like, "Well, are you going?" And she's like, "Yeah, you want to ride with me?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So she's like, "I want to ride with you. Tools."
There you go. Well, you know, it's always fun to ride with another girl. And you know what? I think Marjorie actually has trouble with her FXR right now. She had a problem with it the other day. I saw on her Facebook page. So yes, we're on picture number 11 with all the 4 bikes in the garage. It's awesome. You have a little stable there. Just love it. You have a
Yeah.
Road
Wow.
King.
That's an amazing garage.
Really, you just jump right in there, girl. I mean, this is kind of like, what is your? I know you talk about your dad, and he's in one of these pictures. He's so adorable. And what does he think about this?
I think it's at first when I first started writing, he was just like, okay, whatever. But like when I started getting into like, you know, working on the bikes and stuff, because my dad was a woodworker. I mean, he wasn't, it was a hobby, you know. He did all kinds of home renovations. In fact, that photo of the house I grew up in, he put the dormer on that house, and everything. He raised the roof and did all that. So, you know, I was always, in order to spend time with him, because he was either at work or doing a project. So in order to spend time with him, I basically had to learn how to hand him tools. So
right.
So
whatever it takes, right? That's awesome.
And that red tool cabinet there is his. That's, you know, when they downsized and everything, I got that, and I got all of his tools and everything. But all of his tools were woodworking. I didn't have near enough box wrenches and sockets and, you know, like mechanical tools. So I've bought a crap load of tools myself.
I want to show picture 13 because it's got you have such a talent for wiring. I have to say, not everybody can do this. Okay. Tell us what you were doing here with it's just on your 40, right?
Yeah, that went on the 40. You can see just barely on either edge of that box is turn signal. So I was trying to figure out how to do the wiring and everything and add these turn signals to this bike that never had turn signals. So I got this metal box. McMaster-Carr is one of my favorite places to shop. So I ordered this metal box from McMaster-Carr. I bead blasted it, painted it black, painted it silver on the inside, and I mounted a terminal board in there and did all my connections in there. So it should be pretty damn waterproof and you know, weatherproof. And it's also something that if I ever sold the bike or changed behind and wanted to take stuff off, I can take the stuff off, you know.
So this is on the, when this folds down and it sits on the rack, or it sits behind the, let's see the other
So
picture where it actually sits.
that's just for access. The license plate's actually on the front of that box. So there's probably another picture of the back of the bike, where when you flip that up and close it,
right.
yeah, you can see the there it is, the license plates on the back, and those three little silver dots or whatever that are like kind of an arrow shape on either side, those work with the turn signals as well.
Wow.
So, little
Good for
LED
you.
light in the box that work with the turn signals. So
Is this what you do like every night? Do you just go out to the garage and work on the bikes every night?
She actually, okay, tell them the story how you worked in this in your living room. I know it's a weird story, but just tell them what happened.
that bike, well, at that point I didn't have the garage set up the way I have it set up now. I had the previous winter, I had rewired the 74 in that freezing ass garage. You know, we had like 20-degree weather and I'm out there like hating life. So someone joked, oh, well, you could just put the bike in your living room. And I'm like, you know, so when I got the 40, I got it in the fall, and I grabbed a guy from work. I'm like, hey, can you help me get this thing into the living room? And he's like, sure. So we rolled it into the living room, and I wired the bike in the living room. I put the generator on in the living room, and I did all the wiring in the living room.
Wow.
I had the tires off of it. I was up underneath it, you know, up underneath the fender, running wiring and yeah, whatever. It was crazy. Yeah.
This is
So
when
what
I
do
discovered you.
think? I want to know what your
yeah.
dates think when you bring somebody home and they see a bike in the living room.
Well, you know, I kind of
They
don't date.
could make it, right?
The guy who yelled at me about my 74, I was like, yeah, I don't know.
She didn't have time for that. She's too busy with her bikes.
Yeah.
So this is about when I found you on Facebook, because I thought, who is this incredible woman working on the old bikes? I just loved it. It's so cool.
Yeah, that's me. So it was in the living room until about June, and then another friend of mine, he and I rolled it out into the garage, and then I realized, you know what, I really need to, you know, make my life easier and do something. So I insulated the garage, sheetrocked it, painted it, had it put in. I've got an air conditioner framed in as well, and put a man door in it and everything. So it's a nice little shop now. But
that's awesome.
So
we have a lot of people chiming in here right now. A lot of people just so inspiring. Chad Heyman says, watch you now from Fort Myers. Thank you for your trip log, 440 miles plus on your shovelhead. You are an inspiration. That is fantastic, sister.
And Vicky
So
Sanfilippo,
yeah, Vicky.
she chimed in. How long will it take you to get to Milwaukee for the show? You said this.
Or she said showerhead.
You're right.
We didn't talk
showerhead.
about that.
Okay. You
So
did.
you're going to the shovelhead reunion? Is that your next adventure?
yeah, that's what Marjorie and I are gonna ride out to that. We're each gonna ride to Toledo and meet there, and then we're gonna ride from Toledo in. So we're gonna take the Lake Express, the high-speed ferry across.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
That's
so
fun.
it's a 2-day ride for us. Yeah, for me.
Our friend Rob Nussbaum just chimed in, and he really wants you to bring your flathead. He's got his shop open again. He said he's ready for you. Bring that flathead over and let him help you. You know, he can help you learn how to ride. He's got a parking lot. He's patient. You know, you can do that foot clutch.
July is going to be flathead month.
Love it.
June is shovelhead month. July is flathead month. I've got to screw up the courage to roll that sucker out of the garage and just put my big girl panties on and just figure it out. So
you know what? Once you do it,
figure it out.
You won't want to go back. I'm jonesing a little bit because I might get to ride that new Harley this summer. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I haven't ridden anything in a long time. I wouldn't even know how to start it. I have to remember that you know, the clutch is up here again, and it takes you a while to get used to the foot clutch and hand shift, but once you do, it's so much fun. And you'll just love it. So
you'll be all mixed up when you get on there, won't you, on that new bike?
I know. I'm like, oh my God, I may have to practice.
you know, you got a nice offer from Marjorie. She said if you do go down to Retrocycle with your flathead, you could stay at her place. She's only 15 miles from there.
There you go.
And she said, I have bikes you can borrow while the flat is in the shop. She even sweetened the offer. Isn't that awesome?
Very nice.
Somebody did chime in here with Mozi Jr., whoever that is.
Mm-hmm.
Karen, what mechanical problem tested you to your extents on this last trip? I was following you. There were a few times, amazingly, you held tight.
The bike, I was running into a lot of trouble, and I still haven't quite sorted it out. I got the bike in the shop, not in my shop, but in like a real shop with somebody who really knows what they're doing. But it was bucking really hard and stalling under power and at idle. And it was the way it would buck. It felt like if you downshift without slowing down and it pitches you forward. That's what it was. But I mean, it wasn't a transmission situation. It was, and I'm pretty sure now, I thought maybe it was fuel. A couple of people thought it was fuel, but I pretty much disproved that an altitude. I mean, the bike ran like a champ at 9,000 feet, so it wasn't altitude.
You have points on that bike? Did you check the
No, electronic ignition. And the whole ignition is brand spanking new. But I think what happened was the power washing that it took probably got something wet or loosened a connection. I mean, I went through in New Mexico, I went through some roads that were really rough. And it might have, that might have had something to do with it too. I don't know, but it was really bucking hard. And then what made it scary was that I was afraid if I'm going around a curve and I'm in a hard lean in a curve and that thing bucks, I'm done. I'm just that's not going to be pretty. So I had to be when it was doing that, I had to be really careful the way I was riding and kind of try to slow down for curves and not lean too hard because I didn't want.
Yeah, that's scary. Well, so did you figure it out? So is that the same bike you're going to be taking to Milwaukee? Did you get it straightened away?
It's at the shop now, and probably give them a call in a day or two. Give them time to look at it. But yeah, that's the bike I'm planning to take to Milwaukee because my other shovel isn't. I don't have any test miles on that at all. I mean, I did a lot of work on over the winter. I rewired it.
Steve Broyles is right. Loose battery cables will do that, and the ground wire. I had that happen to me one time.
I checked battery cables. It's not the battery cables. But yeah, I think it is something. I mean, yeah, that could do it. It's got to be. I feel like it's got to be something in the ignition system, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah, see, I'd be driving myself nuts trying to figure out what it is. That's me. I'm like, what is it? Gotta find out what it is.
It made that bike a pain in the ass. I remember after I met Misty for lunch. The first 4 hours of that day, that thing ran beautiful. And when that thing runs good, you could not out the bike.
How about the coil? Okay, the coil.
And then after lunch, it was an angry soul. It was I was ready to throw it in the ocean.
You could have a crack in your coil and it got water in there.
Could be. Although the coil's brand new too, so I don't know. I mean, it's.
Hey, new stuff can sometimes be bad stuff.
Well, yeah, word, yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So I know in the future you talked about doing some other rides. You want to do something with Route 66. You're talking about a ladies' ride, maybe in the future.
Yeah. I was. I got that idea on the way to Utah. A friend of mine, Joanne McCulloch, who I ride with Stilettos here in Western New York, she would have gone with me to Utah, except for she couldn't get the time off from work, and I didn't have a second bike because she was going to ride one of my shovels, but I didn't have the other shovel ready. So she couldn't go, and I'm glad she didn't go because I would have been apologizing for the rest of my life for the horrendous weather I put her through. But as I was going, I was on Route 66, on and off Route 66, and I thought, that would be a fun thing for Joanne and I to do next year. We could do Route 66, so we could ride the route, and then in Santa Monica, put the bikes on a truck and send them home, fly home.
Or ride up the coast and meet me in Mendocino, because I got little bikes up here, and you can.
Or you could ride down the
garage.
So that's an offer. There you go.
I'll ride back with you. How's that?
Right.
Because you're such a good mechanic, and you got all the good tools. So.
Well, I have the tools. I'm not a great mechanic. I have the tools. So. But then I mentioned it to a couple of women in Utah, and they were like, "Oh my God, if you do that, I am so there."
I know. Whenever I hear about it, I'm like, "You can't go without me, girl."
Be a thing. So I thought, well, let me put it out there. So it's in its nascent stages, but I would like to put a women's ride together on Route 66. I think it would just be,
Awesome.
a really cool ride. I think that,
Mhm.
more women are traveling on their bikes. More and more women are, riding. And,
Sure.
I think doing distance on a bike, it's something that I won't say life changing, but it's definitely, it changes your spirit,
Yeah.
and it changes your relationship with your bike, your relationship with, vis-a-vis everything.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
giving that to other women, saying, hey, here's the thing, if you want to do it, giving that gift to other women, I think would be a super cool thing to do, because
Yeah.
everyone will
Sure.
make it.
Can I get an amen?
Yay, man. It's so empowering, it really is. And I tell you, my old bikes are my best friends. So, I mean, my family too, husband, my
Yeah.
daughter.
It'd be
You
pretty
know.
cool. What about participating in something like Babes Ride Out? Because something like that where it's all women, but I'm guessing it's pretty much all newer bikes. Could be kind of neat.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's mostly, I think it's mostly newer bikes, but I don't camp.
No,
Yeah.
I'm saying that I think it could be very neat and inspiring for you to show up at a place like that, having an
Sure.
older bike and all your tools. I think it'd be pretty neat.
I think it would
Yeah.
be inspiring for some of the younger women, because a lot of them are
Mhm.
afraid of the Kickstarters. They're afraid to get out there with something old. I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy because you might break down. And then but now we got Facebook, right? We have the
Right,
anti
and then you
club
go to
group.
the APA page and go, hey, I'm between Rabbit Corners and Squirrel Town, and help me. There will be someone. There's 38,000 members. There will be someone close by.
Yeah, you know what? We look out for each other. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, it
That's
really
so
is.
cool.
I mean, people are great, and like I said, it really is a trust fall. When you leave the house on any bike, but especially an old one, and so it's just a matter of having the confidence to do it and just go, well,
Yeah.
you know what, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. I think you're inspiring some new riders here for sure. And I think just having, when you, especially any bike, just be prepared. It's all the preparation, like you said.
Yeah.
Prepare your body, prepare your bike, bring the tools, bring
Mhm.
some. It took me years to even wear rain gear. Okay, I wouldn't even pull over to put rain gear on until I was in my 40s. So
We just didn't do it.
we didn't
It wasn't
bother.
part of the
I'm
deal.
already wet. Who cares, right?
But something else that happened back then is, and Steve Broyles chimed in with this. He said we've taken them into the hotel rooms with us. I think all of us
Oh,
have
yeah.
done that. Taken the bikes into the hotel rooms. Did you do that on any of your trips?
No, I usually stay in. I'm a Hilton girl. I have Hilton points, so I usually stay in properties. So Hampton Inns have that nice canopy.
Okay, the Hampton Inn. I'm Debbie
So-
Duggar at me. Yeah, we're hooked on Hampton Inn for sure.
So you don't
Yeah.
go for mid-century motels to match the bikes then.
Well, on the Route 66 trip, there'll be a lot of mid-century modern hotels, but no, I
Hopefully
usually
they won't have mid-century linens though, right?
Yeah, those are the scratchy towels, but they work really good on your bike. You put them under, so you don't get the really nice rugs dirty in those hotels, right, Mike? Motel, I should say. They're not called hotels.
That's right.
Especially on Route 66. But what a ride that is. And I know it's a pretty bumpy road too. So if you're on an old bike on Route 66, you got to watch the road. Go boop-a-da-boop-a-da-boo.
A lot of that you can't even get on. A lot of that old Route 66.
Yeah.
You have to actually turn off and go down and just to try it. And it's not maintained. One thing you could see there is that old motel that was in the film Easy Rider.
That's
in
right.
that opening scene where the guy puts the no vacancy up. That's right on old Route 66 on a very bumpy ass part of it.
That's right.
A lot of cool stuff.
The Bates Motel.
Wow, you know the name?
No, that's from the movie.
That's from Psycho.
Oh, okay.
Bates
I got it.
Motel. Can I get an amen? Wait.
Can I get an
It's been great
amen?
talking to you, Karen. I'm so excited to see what I watch your Facebook. I'm a fan. I feel like I know you, and I can't wait to maybe do a little ride with you sometime.
Yeah, and let people know where they can get in touch with you. Is Facebook the best place or only place? Or are you on Instagram? Where else can people find you?
I'm on Instagram under Atomic Shovel, and I'm on Facebook under my own name. I've got a couple of blogs. I've got the Atomic Shovel blog, And I've got another blog that's a rider skills blog. I'm an MSF certified instructor, but I don't teach through MSF. I just work with people. I don't charge anything. I just work with new riders because it's more important to me to get new riders trained and get them to be safe on the road. That's just where I'm at with it. I don't need to make money at it. I just want to, I'll invest the time to build a new rider up.
We should show the last few photos of you. We have some nice photos. We
Oh
didn't get
yeah,
to.
let's
Sorry.
grab a few of those for sure.
Maybe like from 22 on or something. We've got a couple of photos we can just show at the end here. If you can get them up there, Chris. I know there's one of you and you turned off some road. You're following your GPS and you got on some gravel.
Yeah, it's
22 there.
And it was a beautiful road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
There's
your
your dad there.
There he is. Oh.
There's all my electrical wiring in the back.
Wow, look at you, all color-coded wiring. So proud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, I think everybody's impressed with that wiring. We didn't even, there's so many photos that you had showing
Oh, there you
details of your
are.
wiring. I have to say,
Okay.
I was really impressed.
What about
That's a
this
nice
special
shot by the
place?
Cadillac Ranch there.
Yeah.
That was the only photo I really, really wanted to get on that entire trip was that photo. But I didn't do the Michael Lichter pull to let me get down in front of it. So I had to do it from the road.
It's not
So
the
Michael
Michael Lichter pull, it's the Michael Lichter pushiness.
Yeah, do you think?
In there. So, yeah, you think, right?
I've been there,
Yeah,
do that a few times. Yeah, some great photos, and I think there's one of you and Missy in here too somewhere. Something. Oh no, there's one of you. Missy took of you in your rain gear. Oh, there's a
That's
girl you
good,
got the
Missy.
trophy with, right?
That's
Yeah,
Tara.
look at zoom in on those trophies. Pretty cool.
The trophy's badass.
Isn't that awesome? Thank you,
That'd
Jerry
be
Kane.
cool.
Jerry Kane had those done for us, and I was super glad that she didn't just give one to the person who got the most miles. She she covers
That's
both.
awesome.
That's my black and orange Oompa Loompa rain suit. Yep.
They're smiling away. You look so
Missy
happy.
Shoemaker photograph there.
Yeah, thank you, Missy, for sending
Thank
that.
you.
That's awesome. And then
And I
last
love
photo.
this nice
This is-
shot to sign off with, huh?
Yeah.
Riding into sunset.
That's Ivy. One of my stiletto sisters took that shot. That was the day I got the bike back from the shop, 10 days before I left for Utah. So
So we
So I
talk
gotta-
about
I'm
the
sorry.
stilettos, the steel stilettos. We need to give
Stilettos
them
on
a little
steel,
plug here.
I wanted
Yeah.
to ask something about them. So do any of the stilettos wear stilettos on their bikes or not?
no, we actually do ride. So we were
You can ride with those on. One
You
time,
can
I think I
ride
did a
with them.
skirt ride. We all wore our skirts and rode around the block
Oh, Lord.
somewhere.
In Italy, you'll see them in stilettos. I'm sorry, they're riding in stilettos.
That's true.
Oh my God. I can't even imagine. I can barely boots. Yeah.
Michael,
Yeah,
you can try to get us to do things, but we're not doing that. Okay.
Oh,
Right.
There's that whole. Is this from Easy Riders? What is this? This Flagstaff.
Yeah, I think it's Flagstaff, Arizona. I
Yeah,
think it said
yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah,
Cool.
some cool buildings.
Awesome.
Wow. Well, thank you again. I have to say, Karen, it's been really fun having you on, getting to know you a little bit more.
Yeah, and get to follow you on your next shovelhead adventure.
Yep.
And everybody should have such a hard choice to say, which shovelhead should I take out today? Or pretty
Yeah.
soon, which shovelhead or flathead should I take out today?
Yeah. I got to make
That's
friends with
gonna
my
be a lot of fun.
flat. Yeah.
I want to
You
see
gotta
you
get
on
that
it.
flathead.
That's
That's
right.
they're so
July
cool.
is Flathead Month. Okay.
July
We'll
Flathead
do
Month.
that.
It's an official
you
thing.
go.
You
All
know that?
That's right. National Flathead Month, right?
That's right. You started, and I'm right there with you. Anyway, right on. Well, thank you so much, and we'll be in touch, and maybe come back again sometime and tell us about what you
Sounds
did.
The
good.
next
What you did.
adventure.
Once I get
Yeah,
56 rides together, maybe we'll talk again. Yeah.
that's
Thanks,
right. We got to
Karen.
do something together. Thank you, Karen. Take care. See ya.
All right, bye now.
Oh, cool.
Wow, a lot of comments, huh?
Oh, so inspired by her. Just makes me want to turn some more wrenches.
Someone asked, Cocaine asked if the Shovelhead reunion is during the Wild Ones weekend. I don't know the answer to that. Maybe
I don't
somebody
know when
else has
that
to
is.
chime in.
I don't know when that is.
I don't know.
There's going to be a
So
lot
the-
of shovelheads. That's in Milwaukee, right? A shovel, obviously.
Yes, the Shovelhead. But they also have the Knucklehead reunion there. I wonder if I think they have one for everything.
I don't know.
Because someone else chimed in about the Panhead reunion.
There's a reunion for everybody and everything. What about
There
the
is.
Flathead reunion? I guess they just had a VL ride somewhere too. When is my first ride? Maybe tomorrow. I don't know.
Jeez.
I got to ride.
You're just having
I
too much
know.
fun chilling up there up
I'm
north.
just fishing and planting. I've been planting flowers and roses and stuff and chasing the deer away. They ate my honeysuckle last night, bastards. Anyway. Well, you know what, Michael, your website is amazing. I have to
Thank you.
plug your website because you have so much cool stuff going on. Your photos are great. People, you can just plug in, look at, events, maybe put your own name in there, see if you took a picture of you. It'll just come up somewhere.
There we go.
Yeah.
I think if you put Chris Simmons in, there's over 300 photos.
Oh my God. Yeah, me making faces. Well, we probably had a few years of having some photos there. So, wow, there you go.
Yeah, there's a lot of pictures of you. That's for
Oh,
sure.
I never saw some of those. What the hell am I doing there? Oh, I don't even want to know.
The rain.
I'm having
There
a
you
drink
go.
of water.
Anyway, and everybody's got to go check out yours. And again, I'm waiting for the next 50.
Yeah,
right?
I'm going to work on some more stuff for sure.
And audio files now.
Mhm.
You've got to put some of those audio files on your website.
I got to work.
Oh, everybody's going to want to hear some of these people in their
Right.
own voice. That would be very cool.
I got to work on my website for sure. Yeah,
All righty.
definitely. Well, thank you guys. And thanks to our sponsors as usual. SNS, Metzler, Dennis Kirk, you have a wonderful commercial. The Garage Builder, I really enjoy every
The
week.
Garage Builder thing is
Yep,
awesome.
SNS. Thank you
That's
guys
great.
for all your support.
And then we have some shows to announce because we have Cannonball Chronicles tomorrow night.
Yep, the winners of the Chase Young People. There's like 3 guys there. I think Jake Smallwood is going. I don't know who the other 2 are. I can't remember their names. I'm sorry about that. But you'll see them tomorrow night on the Cannonball Chronicle with
And I'm not sure
Rob
who's
and
on.
Jason.
I'm not sure who's Torque, but I know Sunday night we got Ron Ronster who does the Shovelhead reunion. So you could hear about. Somebody asked about that. So tune in on Sunday with Shop Talk, and Jay Rogers of the Iowa Hog Drags. He'll be on Sunday as well. So lots to do this week.
Right, Torque on Thursday night.
Yep.
So 9 o'clock is getting pretty much sewed up.
Yep.
So these guys are stuff going on here.
Well, thanks
Anyway.
everybody for chiming in and tuning in, and we'll see you all next week.
We'll see you next week. Have a great week. I'll see you from
Chris.
Hawaii next week.
Uh-oh,
There you
see you,
go.
Hawaii.
Okay, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.